Oh my god, hello. This is Star Host, an astrology podcast where we talk about the hell of living through another apocalypse and the transits coming next week that we are horny for. I am a host, Lana McKenna. I have a Gem Sun, Pisces Moon, and Capricorn Rising.
I'm Matt Dragonstone. I'm another host. I have a Taurus Sun, Sagittarius Moon, and Taurus Rising.
And I'm Larissa Kesby. I'm your final host. I have a Pisces Sun, Leo Moon, and a Libra Rising, and we are so excited, so let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Oh my god. Hello, welcome back. We have a wild episode this week. We're really going to get into it this segment. I'll tell you that for free. So, look, here's the tea. Here's what's happening. Myself, Larissa, Matt, we are feeling it this week. We are heavy. This week has been fully cooked. So we're all a little bit crazy, a little bit out of our minds. High uncertainty, I would say, is driving us to our wits' ends. Yeah. So, enjoy this energy. We fucking hate it. But you know what? Hopefully it'll make a nice episode. Who knows?
We'll find out.
So this is what's going to happen. So we've got a couple of new aspects coming up in astrology, which will be really, really cool. We also have wild emotions and a discussion in these unprecedented times, which will be really, really cool. But we have a few things to talk about before we get there. We don't have any news. But I thought we would talk about this week is rising signs. Yeah. So we're going to take a bit of a deep dive into rising signs. Some call it the Ascendant. I don't know any other names for it. Basically, it's kind of the sign that sets up your entire birth chart. It has a lot of importance. It's really cool. I did maybe 10 minutes research on it during this week, so I feel like I know everything about it. Yeah. And, Matt will fix everything that I get wrong. So
that's why we have him here.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the expert.
I feel very safe. So let's talk about rising signs.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Matt, tell us about rising signs.
Oh, okay. So a rising sign, otherwise known as the Ascendant, is the sign that sits on the cusp between the 12th house and the first house. And in real terms, it's the sign on the ecliptic that was on the eastern horizon at the moment you were born.
Cool.
So how often does that change if you don't know what time you were born?
Oh, about every 2.5 hours.
Okay.
And, it's important.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's really important to know because it kind of also dictates what sign or your major, like your sun, your moon, all that stuff is in, right?
Well, what house they're in, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes with the moon, because the moon changes sign every 2.5 days, it can change your moon sign if you don't know your birth time.
Wild.
But that's why you should seek advice from a professional astrologer if you need to do a rectification or get a best guess at when you may have been born.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Does daylight savings impact your ascendant?
It doesn't impact the ascendant because the ascendant is tied to a physical event.
Okay.
But if you get the time wrong, as in if you're calculating the ascendant using the wrong time, then you'll get the wrong ascendant because of the calculation.
So that's why you need to know your place.
Like
right.
where you were born. Yeah, definitely. So it was a really cool question. That was a question from Amber, one of our regular Star Hosiers that listens.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a really good question. I was like, oh my God. And so topical. We hit daylight savings this week.
And it's cooked me.
Yeah. Hasn't it though?
Oh my God. I don't know what year it is.
Maybe that is what has messed with us all week is literally being in the future by an hour.
I haven't been able to sleep any earlier than 1 a.m.
Oh, dear. I hate that.
And I still have a full-time job.
Oh, my God. Me.
Mercury is slowing down to station retrograde next week. So, it's slowing down now today, which is probably why we're a bit cooked today as well.
Definitely. Okay, so I do have some questions are a rising sign, but I also just want to acknowledge the energy that is happening at the moment. We're all a little bit cooked. We're all a little bit fried. We're all a little bit what's another food analogy? Sous vide.
Souffled.
Souffled? Oh, for sure. Are you kidding me?
I've been
whisked.
God.
Yeah.
Whisked.
So what do we think what is this funk? What's that smell?
If it's like, I know that like there, and I wanted to ask you about this as well, Matt, because some people talk about shadow retrograde, like the week before a planet goes retrograde, there's like a shadow around and it's like pre-energy. And I'm like, surely this isn't pre-Scorp getting me.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily for the week. I mean, when a planet goes retrograde, right, it sort of goes back to a point that it's been to in the past. And it's when that planet enters that point, which will retrograde back to, that's the beginning of the shadow, if that makes sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
None.
But I also have reflected that we've been in lockdown for too long now.
Mercury's going retrograde in Scorpio, right? But it'll go direct in Libra, right? So it's going retrograde in Scorpio. It'll go back into Libra at the end of October.
So it's like shooting forward back into Libra.
Yeah, that's right, man. Yeah. So when Mercury got to that point in Libra, where it will go direct on the 4th of November, it entered the shadow period. So it was like a week or two ago, I think, a couple of weeks ago.
Good God.
I don't have the exact dates because I didn't know you were going to ask this question.
Sorry.
But that's the shadow period. And then when it goes direct, it has to pass through that shadow at the end of its retrograde to get the fuck on with its life.
Okay.
Right? And that happens with every planet that goes backwards and forwards. It'll pass a point just before it goes retrograde, which it will retrograde back to, and that's the shadow.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So interesting.
It is really interesting.
Yeah. So what is characteristic of a shadow period for a retrograde, Matt? Like anything in particular?
Well, yeah, heaps of stuff, man. Like stuff that happens in a shadow period is usually what fucks up during a retrograde period.
Good to know.
Do you know what I mean?
It's like a pre-warning?
Yeah, it's like a little precursor. It's just like, hello, here's a little red flag. This is going to fuck up soon.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Yeah, you got to look out for like foreshadowings is kind of the technical term of what you're going to have to deal with during that shadow period when the planet goes retrograde back over where it was. So like, yeah, that's what shadows are. And if you can cast your mind back to when Mercury entered its shadow period, and I'll put details of this up online for those playing along at home, anything that kind of popped up with a Mercury vibe might have to be redone during the retrograde. So if you had to like, you know, submit an application for something, or if you had a bright idea that you started working on, or, you know, if your dishwasher fucked up and flooded your house, for instance, you know, like that's going to kind of need to be redone during that retrograde period, potentially.
That's very interesting.
It is.
What a great tangent.
Yeah.
Loved that.
Sorry. I really took us there.
No, that's totally fine.
No, it's cool, man. I can talk about this shit all day, dude.
Oh.
That's why we have a podcast.
Yeah. That's so funny. So let's just go back to rising signs really quickly.
Yeah.
So essentially rising signs. So they generally govern like your 12th and first house, correct, Matt?
It's the sign that's on the cusp. So your rising sign rules the first house.
Okay.
Gotcha. Which is why it's linked to your physical appearance and body, right?
Correct.
Love that.
I was really shocked, Matt, when we were having just like a random astro chat a few weeks ago, when you were like, "Oh, your rising absolutely dictates what type of body you will have and how you look to other people." I was like, "What?
Yeah,
The fuck?"
I really like the first time I read that, I was like, that's such a crock of shit even for me. But then when we had that conversation, Matt, and you broke it down, I was like, oh my God, like it's fully legit.
Yeah.
It is, man. Yeah, like Taurus is my rising sign, but I don't look like a bull because the ruler of Taurus, Venus, is in Gemini. So I have more of a Gemini vibe to my body type. Plus Mars is on my ascendant. So I'm bald and I'm thin and I'm hairy.
That is wild.
I've got like a very masculine body type, but it's a masculine mercurial body type because
So
of all
cool.
the different factors at play on my ascendant. So you can't just say, right, that I'm a Capricorn rising, for instance, so I'm tall and thin and pale. If Saturn is in the 12th house like it is with you, Lana, then those Saturnine qualities of a Capricorn rising sign are going to be like a little bit obscured. You're not going to be able to immediately see it. But in the way that you go about things, which is also what rising sign governs, there's so much Capricorn in you, dude.
I forget that Lana's a Gemini sometimes because she's just so cappy at me and I'm like,
It's very funny that you say that though, because so my sun, Gemini, and my moon, Pisces, they are definitely like, I guess kind of, you know, fun, chill, like
light.
light energies, but like most people when they meet me, they actually think that I'm going to be like a bit of a badass bitch.
Yeah, because of your rising.
Yeah, and it's so different from like the marshmallow that I truly am. Because of Capricorn, it's wild stuff. And I hadn't really I'd never really cottoned onto it, like literally until we started doing this podcast and like working on this. I've just been like, well, gal, you need to cool it with this Capricorn.
You don't need to cool it at all. You just need to like. It's just fun to lean into all parts of your chart.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have a question for ye. If ye are interested to hear it.
Always.
Verily I am.
Okay, so what is your rising sign? And if it manifests, how does it manifest for you?
For me, well, my rising sign is Taurus,
Yeah.
and it does manifest. I think it manifests in an odd way because of all the different placements with my body type. But, I like routine, right? And I like unusual routines, but I still like routine. I like to take things slow, and I like to get a real kind of tactile, approach to things going. So, it does work for me, basically. Yeah, I am a Taurus rising in many ways.
I love that. Very, very cool. And is it like amplified because you're also a Taurus sun?
I don't think it's amplified by my Taurus sun. I do think it's amplified by Chiron conjunct Mercury in Taurus in my first house.
I'm sorry. You have lost me.
Okay. All right, man. So like not only if your chart ruler, not your chart ruler, if your ascendant ruler, in my case, Venus is in a different sign to, the sign that your ascendant is in, that will influence your body type.
Yeah.
But planets in your first house will influence your approach to things and influence your body type as well. I have Mercury in my first house, and Mercury is very closely conjunct Chiron. So I've got bad eyes. I'm wounded physically when you first meet me. Up until very recently, I had hideous teeth.
Wow.
I have to wear glasses. I'm not a picture of health on first impression. The fact is that I'm a very healthy man, but because of those factors, I'm very cerebral. I have a larger than average forehead because of Mercury in my first house. I also am very erudite and quite eloquent. And because of that mercurial Gemini kind of influence. So I'm kind of like a Taurus dipped in a Gemini, basically.
Whoa.
And that's the ascendant and how it plays out. So, for Astro babies, look at the sign on your ascendant and go from there. But for Astro teenagers, start looking at the ruler of your ascendant.
Yeah.
And for Astro old cunts like me, you don't need to be told, right? All of the planets in your chart and where they're placed are going to influence you in one way or another. And the first house is all about your body.
That is so freaking cool. Oh my God.
Yeah, man. It's fun to play along at home. Go to astro.com, get your charts, start looking at that shit, dude.
Can I tell you what that's exactly what I am doing right now. I've just pulled my chart up. I don't really there's nothing in my first house, but
there's heaps on your ascendant though. On it.
Yeah. So I've got, what have I got there? Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune.
Yeah.
All in the 12th house, all ruled by Capricorn. What does that mean?
Well, no, they're very close to your ascendant, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
I'm going to pull up your chart using Solarfire Gold, the professional astrologer's choice, and we'll have a look, okay? All right, let's have a look at that ascendant. All right, so Saturn's the first one, really, really close to the ascendant, but so is Neptune. Uranus is a little bit far away, okay? But Neptune and Saturn together in Capricorn, very close to the ascendant, with, Uranus kind of in the mix in the same sign, probably explains a lot about your appearance, Lana. You've got beautiful eyes and you've got purple hair. That's Neptune forming its kind of business, right? You have to do a lot of work on your body. You talk, I think, during this episode about how much work you do on your body, not just in terms of recent events and chemo, and that's just because Pluto and Saturn are forming those aspects to your first house, but you like the fake eyelashes, you like the glamming it up, you like, the work of having tattoos all over you, the piercings. You're a constructed body type. Your body type is constructed and unfortunately recently deconstructed.
Very true.
But that's that Capricorn influence, and that's Neptune in the mix as well. There's a kind of glamour about you.
That's true. I am very glamorous. Especially now with my bald spots.
I will draw your attention to Chiron in Cancer forming an opposition, which is also triggered by these transits too.
Oh, very true. Very interesting. I love that. Thank you very much for that
breakdown.
Yeah, reading. Thank you very, very much. Also, if, like, people listening, like, if that just blew your freaking mind, book in for a reading.
Yeah, that's true.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm fucking broke.
That's so funny.
Help her read it out.
All right, Larissa, tell me about your rising sign and how does it manifest for you?
So mine's Libra. And it's like funny, when I first started dabbling in astro, Matt always used to say to me, your eyebrows tell me that you're a Libra. They're very Libran. And that's because when I was in my, previous corporate life, when I worked in the office, I was obsessed with my eyebrows and they were fucking perfect. And I learned how to like wax them and tint them myself. I wasn't going to no beautician. I didn't trust anyone. I was like, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. And sometimes I'd get drunk and they'd look really bad while I was doing them. But like, whatever. So that was a big calling thing. And it's true. Like the filter on the world, the filter that I put on is that everything around me has to be beautiful aesthetically. And I feel like I need to be aesthetically beautiful, or it's not like a worth thing, but it's just something that I derive happiness from.
Same.
You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah.
And like everything around me also has to be the same. Like I love my house looking beautiful. Like everything is in perfect order. Like when I'm, wherever I am, it's there has to be like I try and find and create harmony. Beauty. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's a beautiful rising sign, right? But it's also coupled with Pluto in Scorpio in the first house. Forming an almost exact square to your Leo moon.
Yes, correct.
So what does that mean?
Well, the way that Larissa just described her rising sign tells us a lot about that. Like a normal Libra rising with no other sort of placements that influence, how that expresses itself will be very easygoing. Mm-hmm. So it would be more like a description of, I just like it when things are nice, and if things can be nice, that's great. No, man, you've got like Pluto in Scorpio squaring your moon from the first house to the 10th house. Fucking everything needs to be beautiful. It has to be, there's no compromise in you and in your approach.
Of course. Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. In your home, in your house, right, which is ruled by the moon, everything has to be beautiful. Correct. And not only that, it has to be beautiful in a really impressive Leonian way, because the moon is tied in with your body type and your approach to things, and Pluto and Scorpio is there. Yeah. And might I also add, the ruler of your ascendant, which is Venus, is exalted in Pisces in the 5th house. It has to be luxurious. You know what I mean?
Hot dog.
Yeah, I resonate hard with all of this. The shit I have gone through to have this house looking the way it does is disgusting. The hours I have spent on the internet, the painstaking decisions around art and the color of my floor and the rug I'm sitting on, it consumes so much of my time. But it's because if it's not beautiful and perfect, I can't fucking have it.
Yeah.
I just lose it. It's such a weird... Yeah, I guess that defines it for me, Matt. Thank you.
I love that.
Because I've always been like, why am I like this?
It must be a triumph, my friend, because that moon in Leo is involved, and that moon's in the 10th house, and it's forming this square to the 1st house. You must triumph, and you must tell us of your triumphs.
I must.
It's beautiful, man.
I'm
sorry, but that's just my placements. Okay, so I have one last question before we wrap this segment up. So in astrology, in a birth chart, you have an ascendant, which is like the leftmost point of the circle. Yeah. That's your ascendant. The furthest north point is the midheaven. Is that right, Matt?
Yeah, so the midheaven is the space between 9 and 10. So the ascendant is between 12 and 1, and the midheaven is between 9 and 10.
Correct. And our 10th house also represents things like our public life, right? How we appear in public, and our reputation and our careers and that sort of thing. How does the ascendant differ from those two things?
Well, the ascendant is what immediately greets you. Okay, so on first impression, for me, taking me as an example, you get all of this kind of energy at once, all filtered through the sign of Taurus. So you get Mars on the ascendant, and you get Mercury and Chiron in close conjunction in the 1st house, and this is all kind of like a huge kind of well of energy that's being sort of held back by a Taurian sort of filter. And so I can appear quite conservative. But my midheaven is in Aquarius, right? So my public image is quite skewed and weird and Aquarian and...
That's incredible.
Progressive and forward-thinking and inventive and unconcerned about the opinions of others and doesn't give a fuck about, like, conservatives, and things like the conservative approach that a Taurian ascendant would have you believe on first impression.
I'm having an Astro is real moment right now.
Yeah, dude. That's incredible.
That is amazing.
That's amazing.
Well, the beautiful thing, like, just to take the two of you as very quick examples, because you've got me going now. Larissa, your ascendant is in Libra, and we've spoken about how that influences how you approach things. But your midheaven, Larissa, is in Cancer. And what do we hear about? What do we see in your public persona? Immense care, right? Immense emotional care, a lot of emotion, not only because the moon is in your 10th house, but also because your midheaven is in Cancer. You talk at length and with absolute adoration for your family. Even those members that you don't get along with well enough, there's still compassion and understanding there. And that kind of jars a little bit, that emotional nature jars a little bit with the first impression with you, which is intense and beautiful.
Yeah.
With you, Lana, I'll just bring up your chart just quickly. So your ascendant is in Capricorn, right? And Saturn's very close to it and Neptune's very close to it. So while it's glamorous and a little bit quirky, it's still very conservative, okay? But your midheaven is at 0 degrees of Libra. Okay. So what do people hear about you? They hear balanced opinions. They hear about beauty. They hear
fucking
about
justice, bitch.
That's true.
Justice. Yeah, fucking totally, man. Justice, fucking fairness, diplomacy, tact. You are actually, also a very, like, balanced and objective person, not just because of that Capricorn ascendant, but because of your Libra midheaven.
Wild.
Fucking
Very
hell. My mind is blown.
Yeah, that is out of control. We're going to have to reuse the Astro is Real post on social media this week. Oh my God.
Also, like, everyone just needs to get a reading with you, Matt.
Yeah, for sure. And
it needs to be mandatory to listen to this fucking podcast.
God, that's so incredible. What a great chat. I love that. I really enjoyed this a little bit more than the, like, normal news, politics, that sort of stuff.
So nice.
I also feel like I'm, out of my funk, ready to take on the rest of the episode. But thank you both so much. I really appreciate it. All right, so let's take a quick break and get into astrology.
Welcome to Astrology. I'm Matt Dragonstone, and this week is fucking amazing. On Monday, the 12th of October, Jupiter in Capricorn forms a sextile to Neptune in Pisces. The very next day, on Tuesday, the 13th, Mercury in Scorpio forms a sextile with Venus in Virgo. And then on Wednesday, Mercury goes retrograde and fucks it all up. If none of this makes sense, that's totally okay. The point of this segment is to break it down, slow it down, talk it out, and give you as much value as possible from these fucking awesome transits. So let's kick it off.
I just want to say I'm ready for Mercury to go retrograde. I'm not scared. I've got a plan. And
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you say that. This retrograde is going to be a little bit different to others, so we'll talk more about that.
I only say that because this time last year I bought my house in this retrograde, so I feel like for me I'm lucky, but that's probably ridiculous.
I don't know. I feel like I'm ready for chaos.
I'd like to hear some updates about your house during this retrograde, actually. Keep an eye out on it because the Scorpio retrograde in 2019.
What does that mean? Oh my God.
Well, the Scorpio retrograde in 2019 was when you bought the house.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's retrograding in the same place as it was last year. We can probably expect there to be something happening in your house this year if that's the case.
You know what's going to happen? Love, happiness, abundance, joy. The end.
Okay, cool.
No, who fucking knows? It could burn down. I've got great insurance. It's fine. Let it burn.
Cool, bros. Can't wait. So let's kick it off with Jupiter in Capricorn forming a sextile to Neptune in Pisces on Monday.
What's a sex reptile?
I'm sick of these jokes. Oh my God.
Lana, no one else knows
Sorry, we tried to record this like 9 times, folks. A sex reptile is like a weak trine.
Incredible.
That's good.
Yeah. So trines keep everything easily. Okay. So like it's a very harmonious aspect. It's the most easy flow of energy between signs in the zodiac. But sextiles are good. They're just like half trines, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. They're based on 60-degree separation as opposed to 120. So you need to work at it a little more, but it's still nice. It's a nice time, man.
That's good.
What is the social situation that you're going to use as an analogy for this aspect?
What social situation? What are you talking about?
You know how like whenever we talk about an aspect, you're like a square is 2 people shouting at each other and a trine is 2 people like
In a bar, friends.
having a great time. What would you like in this one too?
A sextile is like a really pleasant conversation with the guy at 7-Eleven while you're buying your smokes. Yeah.
Oh, I
That's
like
nice.
that. Yeah.
That's nice. It's really
nice.
pleasant.
That's nice. Different, it's unusual.
Yeah. It's like getting off a tram and someone goes, "Excuse me, you've left your umbrella." And you're like, "Oh wow, thanks, man."
That's great.
That's it.
Love that.
You know, it's
Cool.
good. It's just a good time. Fuck it. We can use as many good times as we can get this month particularly. So Jupiter, the planet of expansion, wisdom, and good luck, is in Capricorn, and it's forming that sextile with Neptune, which is the planet of transcendence, compassion, and intuition, which is in Pisces. So we can expect an expansion of knowledge. It's a very spiritual aspect. It's very mystical experience oriented if you push it hard enough. And, you know, there are chill vibes to be had, guys. It's a very vaporwave transit.
So, I really love this. So is this like a great time for us to record the pod next week? Like,
Well, I'm busy on Monday, but yeah, it would be like, you know.
And so this is also like a good time for, I want to say, maybe doing a little tarot, maybe doing a little meditation, just, you know, spending some time with yourself.
Fucking oath.
yeah, you need to put your headscarf on and get like into the vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It puts a poetic aspect on things, I feel, right?
Very
Because
cool.
Jupiter in Capricorn has the structure, but Neptune in Pisces has the inspiration. And, you know, you can look at the world through slightly different colored lenses on Monday. And, you know, fucking that's great, man. Like, who doesn't like that shit?
Love it. Love it,
Cool.
love it, love it.
Beautiful. So what have we got next?
Well, Mercury in Scorpio is forming another sextile with Venus in Virgo. Okay, so Mercury, which is stationary on Tuesday, the 13th of October, before retrograding in Scorpio, is forming a sextile with Venus in Virgo. It's a very brief transit, so like half a day, probably the morning. And it's not going to be fluffy because we're talking about Mercury in Scorpio and that careth nay for thine petty morals, to put it bluntly. And we're talking about Venus in Virgo, which is all about organization and cleanliness and like Mr. Sheen being especially sexy. So, you know, it's a good transit for like organizing your home or your workspace in such a way that it's both functional and beautiful at the same time. So think of it that way.
Cool. Okay, so does this have anything to do with relationships?
Well, kind of. Yeah, I mean, Venus is involved. Venus is in Virgo and Mercury's in Scorpio. So it's probably about getting clear on the details.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. All right. So this is a good time to like focus on the details, look after yourself, that sort of thing.
Yeah, focus on the details, look after yourself. It does lend itself to health and analysis and what have you. But in terms of relationships, if you wanted to kind of get really clear on something with your partner about the past, maybe because Mercury's slowing down, then you'll be able to do it in a kind of diplomatic way. You'd be diplomatically able to pick through the holes in their backstories and go like, what, weren't you with someone then? Or like, you know, just kind of, you know, just gently nudge as opposed to sort of, you know, pry them open with a blowtorch, which you would normally get with Mercury in Scorpio, for instance.
Very interesting.
It just adds a nice little layer.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
And also, is this like a good time for like organization and cleaning old shit out maybe?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
a spring
totes, man.
clean maybe?
Yeah. So like clean isn't always beautiful to most people.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, it's like literally cleaning is only beautiful to my boyfriend Mitch. That is it.
He genuinely, I've never seen anyone with OCD like his. I love it.
Me too.
Exactly. Yeah. So when we think about beauty, we're not automatically kind of confronted with cleanliness as one of the conditions for beauty, right? But with this transit, we can think really clearly for a short period of time about like what it is that we need to clean up or organize or put into structure and order in order to make it beautiful. Right?
Yeah.
So like a jigsaw puzzle is a great example. You know what I mean? You can only see the picture when all the pieces are in exactly the right spot. So for anyone who's not like a stay-at-home virgin doing a jigsaw by themselves, you can find other analogies, right? With like, your social interactions and your interaction with your partner. A clean kitchen is a beautiful kitchen.
Fuck
right?
yeah. I could not agree more.
Sounds like some incel shit to me.
I think it also sounds like everyone living alone in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Puzzles and cleaning. Puzzles and cleaning. Getting drunk on my own.
Yeah, exactly. So like use it for that, okay? Like sometimes we need to do these things and it's about taking what's necessary and making it beautiful.
It's so funny. Like I love that shit. I like love being house proud and I feel like when this house is dirty, I feel angry and I feel dirty. And when this house is clean, I feel like a fucking queen. It's the most cooked thing in the world.
Oh, yes, definitely cooked.
And it's like when I was a child, I was a literal pig. So it's been a real growth moment for me.
Dude, this is like Scorpio and Virgo energies merging together harmoniously. That's what it's going to feel like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, when the house is beautiful, I feel beautiful. It's a weird feeling, but fuck, it's good. I'm rolling with it.
Fuck yeah, man. So have fun on Tuesday, guys.
Love that.
Nice.
Can I tell you as well? I love that I am dating somebody who has exactly the same attitude because I don't have to do dick.
It's so funny because you and your partner and me and my partner are like role reversal. Yeah. Like me and Mitch together, when we get together, we talk about cleaning $11 eggs, baking cakes, types of vacuums.
Oh my God. And types of vacuums is literally
his
like
favorite
dirty
subject.
talk to him. Do you know what I mean? He's just like, please.
And then you and Humi get together and talk about conspiracy theories, Twitter popping off, Trump. Like, it's so funny. And Humi's like, I don't care if this place is filthy. Fine, I'll live in it. And I'm like, I can't handle it. Yeah. It's so funny. We're role reversing.
I'm not a dirty person. I want to make that clear.
No, but you're happy with untidiness like he is, like Humi.
That's an assumption. I'm not happy with untidiness. I'm just not crazy about it like Mitch is.
Yeah. I'm crazy. I feel unhappy if the house is untidy. I feel unhappy. And the second there's order, it's like a weight's lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah. Mitch definitely can't relax until the house is clean.
Yeah.
Like,
he's crazy though. He said to me, he's like, if I see dust in a corner, I can't sleep until that dust is gone. I'm like, what?
Yeah. It's definitely trying to control chaos, I guess, and life.
It's something you can control though, which is a good thing to hold on to in a time of, chaos and change.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Yeah. And it doesn't hurt anyone.
Fuck no.
Can I just say,
exactly.
Every week I describe the transits and every week you two play them out and embody them so well.
Oh, thanks.
Like that was literally Mercury and Scorpio, Sextile, Venus and Virgo there, that whole conversation. And it just, it tickles me pink.
Excuse me.
We're so good. Thank you.
It's fucking great. I can't wait for if there's serious astrologers who listen to the podcast, back me up on the socials. I'd love to hear about it in the comments. But every week, each time, you guys just play it out subconsciously without realizing it. It's fucking sick.
That's wild.
We're just a pair of woke witches.
I think that's true. Let's get into Mercury Retrograde and light a fire in the house or something.
Well, Mercury's in retrograde on Wednesday, guys, and it's taking some really funny turns this time.
Yeah.
So Mercury goes retrograde about 3 times a year. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we should all be used to it. It's 2020, so if this is the worst fucking thing that happens to you this year, you've had an easy fucking year. Okay?
Oh yeah, you need to check your privilege.
Yeah. I think that's already. I'm like, nothing else could go wrong.
Totally, man. So Mercury's going retro on Wednesday, and then it's going to regress from Scorpio into Libra because it's going backwards. It's going to go direct in Libra on the 4th of November. It'll go back into Scorpio on the 11th of November, and then it'll finally go into Sagittarius on the 2nd of December. But the thing is that Mercury will be in opposition to Taurus for a couple of weeks, right? At the start of this retrograde, we had an opposition last week. It's going to kind of reoppose Uranus in Taurus at the end of its retrograde period at the start of November. So it's going to kind of be tense.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to, beat around the bush here, but that explanation was fucking tense.
I know. I was like, I feel great. And then Matt's told us what's happening. And I'm like, I don't feel great anymore.
Yeah, I am not ready.
The wind has been taken well and truly out of me.
So basically, this retrograde is going to go forever. This is just how life is now, and I guess we should just get used to it.
Well, not really, man. It's going to go for 3 weeks or so, which is the same period of time as it takes every time it goes retro. It's going to form some interesting aspects with Uranus and Taurus while it does this.
Okay. All right. Well, we can definitely break those down kind of as they come.
Yeah.
But on Wednesday, when this one specifically kicks off, what should we
look out for?
What should we look out for? What do you think we'll see?
Yeah.
I noticed that Coles had a stroke yesterday.
Yeah.
And had to shut all its stores.
Really?
Yeah. They had a IT glitch and had to shut down
a lot of their stores.
And in Northcote Plaza specifically, my local, where there are 2 Coles in the one plaza.
Ridiculous.
There was no shopping centres open.
Why the fuck do Northside hipsters love Coles? I don't get it.
Look, as a Northside hipster, let me tell you.
I'm a Woolworths girl.
Look, I don't know. I don't have brand alliance to either of them. I go with whoever's the cheapest for the things I need on the day. Yeah.
God, you whore.
Sorry about it.
I'm a Woolworths girl through and through. Sorry, I can't help it.
It's just the same.
Coles makes me angry. The yellow and the red, I'm like, tone it down. Like post-war Poland.
I do definitely think that Coles looks cheaper than Woolworths.
Absolutely.
It doesn't look as fresh.
Yeah.
That is for sure. But do I care? No. I could literally be. They both have the same fucking chocolates.
They do
aisle.
not.
Do you know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, it's all G.
Wow.
Fucking give me a packet of nappies or I'll fucking stab you. That's the attitude I take into any supermarket.
Okay, so sorry. What are we looking out for?
Okay. All right. So it's Mercury retrograde. Your head's going to feel fuzzy. Okay. You're not going to be able to think straight. You're going to find yourself making mistakes in emails. You might send an email to the wrong person. So be careful, right? Don't do big new things like buying a fucking house during a retrograde because I swear to God, it will come back to bite you on the ass.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
double check, triple check the details on everything, accept that you'll miss some stuff and fuck it up. So little stuff that you can't avoid, okay, you're going to have to do it, but just accept there might be issues with it. And don't expect your packages to arrive on time.
They don't anyway. We live in Victoria.
Yeah, it's going to be even fucking worse, guys. Trust me. Mark my words.
Great.
Yeah, it's going to suck the balls.
I've actually decided to do no online shopping for the month of October.
Very interesting. We will monitor this on the pod and just see.
Go on.
Yeah, I feel like this is very Joe Rogan Sober October, but it's Larissa's version.
I'm not
is
going to do
Sober
any
October
online
for you. Yeah.
I'm done.
So this transit's good for some stuff, okay?
Right.
Mercury retrograde isn't all doom and gloom. It's about looking inward and looking backward, okay? So review, learn, integrate. I like to think of Mercury retrogrades as like a software update. Okay?
Yeah, that's a really good analogy, actually.
Love that.
Everything pauses, man. You can't use that app until it's finished updating.
Yeah.
But, once that pause stops and you're able to move forward, you get a fresh new app that's kind of more adjusted to the way things are now, okay? Because it's Mercury, it's about connection with everything. It's about how shit works. And it's the connective tissue that binds together all the disparate packages of information that we live with. So, the retrograde, it's upgrading. Call it a retro upgrade.
Yeah.
I love that.
So we're just basically looking back and integrating everything we've learned. We're reviewing everything that's happened. It's just like a time for introspective thinking, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah, it doesn't favor direct communication.
Yeah.
It doesn't favor beginning new shit or trying to make new connections. It favors looking back over the ones that are already formed and going, fuck, was I right to send that email? Was I right to do this? Was I right to do that?
Yeah.
And that period of questioning is important, right? Because sometimes you might find that you weren't, and then you learn from that within the privacy of your own scorpionic lair, and you come out of that feeling empowered.
Yeah, that's good. So it's like an opportunity for learning and reflecting and seeing if you're happy with who you've been in the last few months because it's been tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. And I will say, I know a lot of people are scared of this. I try not to be. I feel like I'm being toxic positivity today, like embodied. Sorry. Like I try not to be, only because, as I said at the start of this segment, I bought my house last year in the retrograde, and I was in Japan when I signed those contracts, and that wasn't fun. Like I spent half a day in Kyoto, which is the oldest city in Japan and is very like not Tokyo, as in there's not a lot of technology getting around, trying to find a printer and a pen to sign the contract. I couldn't find a pen for like 20 fucking minutes.
Good Lord.
I was losing my mind. Like it wasn't easy, but I got it done.
Yeah, man. Yeah, totally. I mean, like you can do whatever the fuck you want during a retrograde, man. It doesn't really matter. It's just that
It's
like
just not going to be easy, right?
Not going to be easy, and there might be hangovers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like stuff that you didn't realize at the time that come back to kind of bite you in the ass. Larissa, in case in point, right? You had a bunch of plumbing issues last time Mercury was in
When I
retrograde.
first moved into this house, there was so much work that needed to be done that I wasn't aware of.
It's such a Mercury and Scorpio thing. Scorpio is about plumbing.
Yeah.
It's about hidden water. It's about the water that runs.
The plumbing was Batlana. Like the bathroom sink was dripping onto the floor, couldn't stop it. There was a bucket under it the first month that I lived here, and the dishwasher broke within the first week. Dishwashers are expensive.
That is so crazy.
But I also thought it was an analogy for how I was feeling inside when the dishwasher flooded the house. I was like,
yes.
I'm also filled with emotions. Thanks, dishwasher.
I reckon something like that's going to happen again, man.
Of course it is.
I don't need to hear that.
Well,
I don't make exact predictions on the podcast, but mark my words. I reckon it'll happen during the retro.
Well, let's check back on the 2nd of December, see how that goes.
I think we'll
Cool,
hear about
guys.
it before the 2nd of December, TBH.
I hope not.
I think
we'll hear about it the second it happens.
I feel like literally if a tap is dripping in this house,
you'll know about it.
You will come on the podcast and you'll be like, guys, it happened again.
Well, with that big call, that's it, sis. That's the tea. That's Astrology for this week. I'm Matt Dragonstone, and good day to you all.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Hi there, my name is Larissa and welcome to These Unprecedented Times. I'm really excited. We've had such a great episode so far, and I think today we're going to have a bit of a chat about authenticity versus appearance, because I really want to dig deeper into our rising signs and everything we covered in the lockdown lowdown. So let's get right into it. I'm going to hand over to Matt to see what card he has pulled.
Thank you very much, Larissa. Today's card is the Queen of Wands.
Oh, really?
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's a really beautiful card. For those playing along at home, the Rider-Waite-Smith deck pictures the Queen of Wands, a very noble-looking, lady on a throne.
Oh, dang, she's beautiful.
She's very beautiful. A black cat sits at her feet. The throne is flanked by lions on either side. In the background on one side, pyramids on the other side. The desert, all the wands in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck are sprouting because this is a vital card. It's aligned with the element of fire. That's a vital energy. In her other hand, instead of a scepter, she holds a sunflower, and resplendent behind her, a motif of red lions rampant on a field of what looks like a kind of tangerine-coloured banner. This is a lovely, lovely card, my friends. It's really beautiful.
What do you think it means?
I think it means empowerment, sitting in your power, a kind of feminine power, because this is the Queen of Wands, not the King. It's not to imply any sort of hierarchy. It's more to say that we're talking about feminine empowerment. And I know fuck all about that. So over to you two. What does it mean?
Okay, so I definitely think this looks like if you Google this card, doesn't it fully look like it's from that movie, Bedknobs and Broomsticks?
Never seen it.
Oh, are you serious? Okay, so basically there's this scene, I think it's Bedknobs and Broomsticks, and basically they travel into cartoon land.
Okay.
And they play, I think it's soccer, with all the animals that are like on this island, and it's very much this like, that's what it looks like. So visually, I don't know. That's all I've got. I know that's not helpful, but that's all I have.
I want to hold on. I want to ask, what are your eyes like first drawn to when you look at the card, Lana?
Oh,
because it's a really good trick and tip at home for people like learning how to read cards or like use tarot for the first time ever. Everyone can do it. It's really not something that you're like, you know, a muscle that you have to like flex or be born with. When you're pulling them, obviously they all have little books for meanings and you can rely on those, but it's much better when you like rely on your intuition to see what messages are coming through for you, because they always will. And a really good way to open that up is just to look at what your eye is drawn to first in the card, and then start like thinking about that, describing that, and seeing what comes up.
Yeah. So the first thing that I was drawn to was the robe. So like her yellow robe.
Yeah.
And then I guess like how much there was. And I think that that's maybe referencing like sitting in your power.
Yeah, of course.
And then I noticed her crown straight away, and then the staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like regality, it's power, it's feminine, it's ownership.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And then like I noticed the cat kind of.
I was drawn to the cat straight away.
No way.
Yeah.
Why?
Nice.
Yeah.
What do you think it means, Larissa?
I always think that the black little cat on this card is like the antithesis of a black cat being unlucky. I actually think it means luck.
I love that.
Yeah. I just feel like it's a little lucky cat.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's good vibes, right? Like I think in terms of how this relates to everyone for the next week or so, I think we're going to sort of feel empowered, but my interpretation of feminine power is that it's not quite as active. It's more, it doesn't have to do a lot to make itself known. It's more about being sort of passive and just going, you know what, I'm in control.
Yeah.
I know myself and I don't have to prove dick to anyone.
There's like a depth to it. There's like a wisdom to it.
Fucking oath, man. I'm in love with this woman. She looks beautiful.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, I agree.
So what did you get, Lana?
Great question. Thank you so much for asking. So I pulled Kuan Yin. I am using your deck at the moment because I just think that they're beautiful. So the Keepers of the Light Oracle cards, they're really, really cool. So essentially with this one, this is all about care and compassion. So it is a super beautiful card. It's like pinks and purples, lots of lotus flowers. Kuan Yin is super gorgeous. She looks like a princess. Is she a princess?
She looks like a Libran goddess.
She's the goddess of mercy, compassion, and love.
So she is the Libran goddess.
Yeah. Oh my God. And there's like a big moon behind her. And essentially this is just all about like love and compassion. Like a sentence that really kind of stands out to me is that compassion is about recognizing the spirit in others. It's about seeing that they come from the same source as you do. And I think that this is all about kind of, the last week of like Libra season. It's just like a little reminder, like, don't forget you're not alone. Like we're all in this together, as fucking insane as that sounds. But it's true. Even like in our most lonely moments, we are never truly alone. Yeah.
I love Kuan Yin. She's my favorite goddess.
Is she?
Yeah, she is, man. Yeah, I had a really interesting thing happen to me when I was in Japan last. In Japan, Kuan Yin's known as Kannon. And I went to this place called Yamanaka Onsen. It's in the middle of nowhere. To get there, I had to catch a train to a place called Kaga Onsen. And Kaga Onsen has an 80-foot statue of Kannon or Kuan Yin right next to the train station. And like I had a big revelatory moment when I was there. It was just a big spiritual experience. Yeah, so I feel very close to Kuan Yin.
Wild.
Good vibe. Yeah, man. Yeah.
I thought you were just going to say it's because she's a Scorpio. Love that.
That's awesome. Oh, sorry.
Very cool.
Thanks, Lana. So this week I'm using the Game of Thrones tarot deck. And I have pulled a really interesting card, which I think is really, really poignant for the environment that we're living in at the moment. I've actually pulled the Devil. which
Cheeky devil.
which in this deck is actually Ramsay Bolton.
Not a surprise.
Yeah, and he has like a big chain in front of him, which he's like looking through like the big cross, like flayed man symbol that he uses on the show. And there's like flames in the background, and he's got these like piercing blue eyes because I think he's hot. Sorry, controversial opinion. Ramsay Bolton is hot as fuck. And there's that.
So do with that what you will.
Yeah, so don't judge me. How dare you? So this card traditionally usually refers to like an obligation or a restriction that's placed around you, and that you're feeling like enslaved to that a little bit. So this is absolutely the tail end of this level 4 lockdown that we in Melbourne have been in for, almost 12 weeks now, 3 months. So this is about us feeling like we just want to get out. We've signed up to this with Dan, and we're like, okay, maybe we shouldn't have signed up for this long. Like we signed up for 6 weeks. It's now 12. Like let us out. So I feel like there's an element of us feeling really restricted and closed in, and like the walls are closing in around us. Like that's kind of what I can see when I look at it, but we just have to stick through it, basically.
Yeah. Wild. This is very, very interesting. Whoa.
Yeah, man.
It's a full-on card. I'm not going to lie.
It is a really full-on
All
card.
the people get quite scared when they do see the devil come up in tarot readings, but and Matt, I'm sure you'll agree with me that there are like no bad cards.
Well, no, there are bad cards. There are terrible cards.
No.
But it's all bad. Yeah, there are. There are terrible cards, man. Like the Tower, like the Devil, like Death. These you can't put,
those
like,
things, you can't create space for the new to come in, and I really stand by that. I don't think they're bad cards at all. When I see the Death card come up, I'm like, thank God, let's clear out this dead shit in my life and bring in the new.
Easier said than done, man. It's about, I'd say difficult, all right? Let's just say difficult. There are difficult cards instead of bad cards. Can we agree on that?
Yeah. I also think it comes down to like
okay.
your attitude to change is really what it's about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't like the concept of good and bad, full stop.
All right.
Okay,
all
that
right.
was very Piscean, and also, Matt, FYI, you were very Taurian in that moment.
It's very reassuring. No, man, I think there's difficult cards, and I think that those difficult cards are greater catalysts for evolution than some of the easier cards.
Yeah.
But, evolution's difficult. Difficult cards are difficult, and like sometimes we're tempted to call them bad, and it's something I just did. So you're right, Janya.
No, I just I just don't like pushing fear on people. You know what I mean? Like I think that I don't want people to be scared if they're like using tarot for the first time and they're like, oh, the Death card and the Tower cards come up. I'm never looking at tarot again. This is bad. I want them to be to understand that it just means that it's more difficult than, potentially the Empress, for example.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, you make a good point.
Yeah.
I take a different approach, but I can understand and respect your viewpoint.
Yeah.
Valued friend.
Thank you. That's a good segue, actually.
That is a really good segue.
That was a very good example of an authentic conversation, I would like to say myself. So I really wanted to finish this week by having a chat about authenticity versus appearance, because we did chat about our rising signs at the start of the episode and how that impacts our appearances and the filters that we put on ourselves and the world around us. So I guess I just wanted to ask the question around your how valued your own appearance is to yourself. So how valued that is, and does that get in the way of you living an authentic life, having authentic conversations, and being the most real version of yourself? Happy for whoever wants to go first to just kick us off.
Talking. Yeah, okay. So I feel like certainly when it comes to, it just depends, right? So it's definitely situational, but I have found, especially since doing this podcast, I'm actually very concerned about my public appearance and what I say and being accountable for, what I kind of put out into the universe and stuff. Some might say too much, which is very, I guess, different to the rest of me because almost in every other setting, I'm very chill, very like, you know, happy to like let somebody else lead or like whatever. But when it comes to, yeah, my appearance, I can definitely get really, I guess I just want to make sure that I always kind of behave in a way and say things that kind of make me proud of who I am, even though I know that that means that I will make mistakes. And being okay with making mistakes, very easy to say, very hard to do. But I have also learnt, definitely through working in a corporate for over 10 years, not over 10 years, what am I saying? For around 10 years. Like I've definitely learnt that the best way to get the best results for me and to have that feeling is by being my authentic self and to not process or filter myself in a way that doesn't feel right to me. And I do think that that's being really clear on what my values are as a person and who I am and like knowing what I bring to the table. I've always really liked my personality, like a lot.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, I'm able to be kind to myself when I do make mistakes, but also really champion myself and be proud of myself when I do something like that requires bravery. Yeah. And sometimes that is public speaking.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about that.
Nice, man.
You're welcome. Nice.
Nice. I'm a middle-aged man, so long as I don't look like a fucking pedo, that's all I care about with my public appearance, man. Like, really, there's, you know, that's kind of the impetus for middle-aged dudes. You see some of them wearing like red leather jackets trying to chat up chicks in bars and it's just cringeworthy. But the bulk of us, I feel, are just like, so long as we don't look like rapists or like sex offenders and people just leave us alone, we're all pretty much good. And I think that kind of speaks to a kind of quiet calm where it's like, well, you know, if what I look like is a true and accurate reflection of who I feel myself to be, then that's all I need to do. I'm not winning any contests for fashion or like beauty or anything, but I don't really feel like I need to. So, yeah.
That's nice. You sound like you're sitting in your own power.
I am the Queen of Wands, my friends.
Oh my God, I love that.
I've had a really different experience. I've really like struggled with how I appear because I have a Libra rising and a Leo moon. So like appearances and attention and like limelight is like everything to me. And and it feels there's like conflict there because I have a Pisces sun. So it's like I'm like two people almost, it feels like sometimes. And when I started my career, I started working in law firms where I wasn't allowed to have tattoos or piercings, and I did have tattoos and piercings. And I remember I had a lip piercing and I had to put a clear ball on the end of it so that no one could see it, or like they said that they would let me go, like that kind of stuff. So appearance was huge. And then I started working in like just normal corporate, and I worked for a boss who like throughout the day would just like hand me a hairbrush.
Oh my God.
And say to me like, you can't come to this meeting with me looking like this. Like your appearance is everything. What people say about you is everything. And you have to control that narrative. And I worked for her for like almost 3 years. And so her like hearing that every day was really, really tough. And again, like Libra, like I want to look good anyway. Like I want to have perfect makeup and beautiful hair. And I spend so much time on it, and I never knew why until I knew that I had a Libra rising. But in saying that, like if we're talking about like pure appearance, I think I've always been really focused on it, and I've always been probably too focused on it if I'm really, really honest. But with authenticity, with like who I am and what I say, I think the reason that I am so successful in my business life is because I am myself always.
Yeah.
And people have always said to me like, you are yourself in the office, and that's the same person that I see at drinks after work. That's the same person that I see hanging out in your house on the weekends. That's the same person I see when we go to the movies. Like I don't alter my personality to adjust for anyone. You will see me pop off in a meeting and then you'll see me pop off in the bar. It's the same energy. So I think that physical appearance been so tough, but actually being my authentic self is actually a journey for me that's been a lot easier. And I think that is my old Leo moon coming through there a little bit as well. But yeah, it's really interesting because I'm Pisces as well, I can also pick up the second that someone's not being authentic with me.
Yes.
I can tell a lie a million miles away only because I can feel how everybody else feels. So that's also been like a really difficult part of my journey as well, like especially being in corporate surrounded by fucking lies and just sitting there going, liar, 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 liar. Look at what you're getting paid. Look at all the bullshit you're doing. Look at how you're treating your people. That's been really, really tough.
Yeah.
Really, really tough.
Absolutely. And can I just say as well, I have also had a really similar experience where an older, like a senior woman that I used to work for in a financial planning setting, like gave me makeup when I came to work for the first time without makeup on because I was running late at 18 years old.
It's disgusting.
And yeah, it was just like, oh, you just keep this for, you know, days where you are running late and don't have time to put makeup on. And at the time I didn't even think about it because
you were like, that's so nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not nice.
But
that's
by the
grooming.
time I got home, I was just like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, imagine saying to a fresh-faced 18-year-old gal that they need to be putting makeup on every day. Like, if I was a dude, that never would have happened. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so inappropriate, and it also really, like, just the damage that it does to young girls is completely ridiculous.
When you're so impressionable, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think your attitudes are going to change as a result of this godforsaken year?
To my physical appearance and authenticity?
Yeah, man, for both of you, just on the topic of the question that Larissa asked at the start.
Like I here's a funny story. I used to straighten my hair. I've naturally like little ringlets. I look like a 7-year-old little girl. And I straightened my hair every day and just fried it with a GHD every day from the age of 18 because in my mind, and this is so cooked, I thought that if I let my curls out that people wouldn't take me seriously as a businesswoman. I thought that people would think I was too cute and therefore dismiss whatever opinion I had. Yeah. And that was completely something I'd made up myself. But that's what the world had done to me. So I straightened my hair for fucking 20 years.
Well, straight hair is serious. I totally get it.
And I wanted to be severe. That was my whole vibe.
Yeah.
And as soon as we got into lockdown, the first thing I did was get a haircut that suits my curls. And I've straightened my hair once to see what it would look like for a laugh in 6 months.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Look, Cancer has essentially burned off any vanity that I kind of had. And let me tell you, I was vain as fuck pre-Cancer. And I loved it. I love being shallow about my appearance. Like, I love fake tanning. I love fake lashes. I love bleaching my hair. Like, I love all of it. But, like, you can't really do that when you're on, like, chemo and stuff. So, I've, like, literally after the first kind of round of, like, heavy chemo, when I was, like, no chemicals, no nothing, blah, blah, blah. Like, I was just like, who have I become? But I didn't really change. Like, my personality didn't change. You know what I mean?
It's not who you are.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I was just like, oh, like, I can just be, like, you know, a normal person. I don't need to have purple eyebrows to be taken seriously.
So funny.
Which is what I was doing every day at work for over 10 years. Yeah. Not over 10 years. Why do I keep saying that?
You feel older than you are, girl.
Definitely. But now, I mean, since I had like radiation to my brain, like my hair has literally fallen out in the spots that I got radiation. So I don't even know what I look like, but essentially I have like multiple bald spots and it takes a long time for that hair to grow back. So I think I've been rocking these spots for maybe 3 months now. So I just don't give a fuck. So yeah.
What a journey.
Yeah. But I mean, has it impacted my personality in 100 different ways?
It's made you better.
Yeah. But it's just made me more myself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You're sitting in your power too.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think I give even less of a shit than I did at the start of the year, which I didn't think was possible. But I'm not quite at tracky dacks in public stage yet. But I'm getting there.
I absolutely am. I wear matching tracksuits out all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you get your tracksuits from Dolce & Gabbana, dude. Like, I'm talking fucking like Target $8 matching, horrible, that kind of stuff. That's what I've got in my wardrobe.
Overpriced tracksuits are literally like, that is the only way the fashion industry is making money through this pandemic.
It's leisure wear, lounge wear.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like,
I've invested a lot of money in it, I'm not going to lie.
I'm here for it. I love it.
If I wanted to continue... Do you think, Matt, that you're transitioning from corporate to full-time spiritual work? How do you think that's impacted your levels of authenticity and how you see yourself?
Oh man, night and day, dude. Night and day. Because I kept this side of myself hidden in my professional life and many of my personal relationships forever.
Yeah.
I never worked professionally full time in a spiritual role throughout my whole working life. So the decision to leave corporate and the decision to work as a full-time spiritual practitioner was also a decision to be authentically myself. And the feeling of making that decision was a feeling of having to give up everything. So having to face your fear and go, you know what, I'm going to do this or I'm going to die. That's it. Mm-hmm. And it felt too uncomfortable before I made that decision for me to continue going. So it's changed everything radically.
I remember when I met you, you were in a 3-piece suit every day. And just who you were when I met you. I think, look, I knew within 5 minutes, I'm this guy's a secret fucking weirdo and I want to know about it. But I don't think a lot of people around you realized that.
Yeah.
No, I was good at hiding it, and I never used to not give a fuck. I used to give a fuck about my appearance. I used to love and covet material things. I used to really get into just trying to sort of merge into what society considered to be acceptable. Mm-hmm. And even now, as someone who's probably in a very different place, I'm still feeling a lot more there are times when I really just want to buy a nice shiny new thing, or there's times when I want to kind of dress up and stuff. Yeah. And so I kind of do it because it is on the topic of authenticity. There's no such thing as a perfect fucking guru, man. I'm really flawed as a human being. I'm aware of those flaws, and that informs my spiritual practice and makes it more authentic and more effective as a result, right? So it's important to just keep to be a Taurian for a moment, a level head about how you see yourself.
Yeah.
And to accept those imperfections, those mistakes, etc.
That was a really nice chat.
All right, let's finish it up. Thank you so much. So good. Love it. Love our chats. They're always so insightful. So I'm going to clear my throat for this one. So we have new episodes every Monday. You can subscribe on Spotify, and you can also find us on Apple and all platforms where you can listen to podcasts now. And we would love for you to leave us a review if you did enjoy this episode or any of our others. Make sure you also follow us on Instagram at HelloStarHose. And if you would like to know more about your stars and what's happening in the skies for you, make sure that you book a reading in with Matt at dragonstoneinsights.com. And as always, we will put everything we've spoken about in the show notes so that you can have a read and see the links and find out any more information on anything we've chatted about as well. So thank you so much. Make sure that you are kind and compassionate and caring to your friends, neighbors, and family, and look after each other. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Ciao.
Thanks, guys.